Alexander Barnes, and I'm the vision holder for the Goofy Golf Game project. Today I'll be showing you my 10 Jira tests that I completed. I'll also show you how they work in-game. So my first test is add PFI for sand hazard mechanic. For the sand hazard, I'll be adding player-facing information that makes it clear when the ball enters sand. This will include visual cues like a sandy texture pop-up or dust particles. Audio cues like a muffled sandy sound effect. The goal is for the player to instantly recognize they're in a sand trap and understand that it slows down their ball. The completion criteria: sand shows a clear visual when the ball lands in it. The ball slows down while in the sand. Sand sound plays when entering and leaving. Simple UI border shows while in the sand. All feedback goes away once you leave this hazard. Right here in front of me is the sand trap. So when I enter it, it should pop up a sandy screen on my screen. Right now we just have like an orange looking filter, and when I exit it should basically take it away, and when I'm entering it, it should just slow down the ball, and then it should take twice as much to get out of the sand. You'll see. So I'm in it, you see the sand, you get out of it, now it goes away. But you see how it takes way more power to get out of it. My second test is add PFI for out of bounds mechanic. The description is, for the out of bounds mechanic, I'll be adding clear player facing information so players know right away when they've gone out of bounds. This will also include a fade out effect, a quick reset animation, and a simple sound cue. The idea is to make it obvious that the ball is no longer in play and that they need to take another stroke. Completion criteria: the screen fade or effect shows when the ball goes out of bounds. A unique sound plays when it happens. Ball instantly resets to the last checkpoint / starting point. Any feedback goes away once the reset is done. I'm going to be showing you the PFI for the out of bounds. So the out of bounds is this little green area. On the other side is where the water is. So if I just hit this, you see that it adds a stroke on the right side, and it tells the player. And it also resets them to the position they were just at, but adds one more stroke. So it works basically exactly how I implemented it. Okay, this is my third Jira task. It is add PFI for water hazard mechanic. The description is, this task adds clearly player-facing information for the water hazard. The goal is to make it obvious when the ball hits water by using visual, sound, and UI feedback. It also needs to reset the ball and add a penalty stroke so the player understands the consequence. The completion criteria is, a splash effect shows on screen when the ball hits water. Splash sound plays instantly. Ball resets the last checkpoint / starting point. A stroke is added to the score. Any effects go away once the reset is done. Okay, this is the PFI for the water hazard. So you can see that it has a water effect on the screen, and that it also makes a sound. And it's also adding a stroke in the bottom right corner. And it also resets, so wherever the player was before the hit, it resets them to that position. Okay, this is my Jira task 4. Highlight golf ball when behind object / walls. The description is, this task adds a highlight effect so the golf ball stays visible when it's hidden behind walls or objects using a post-processed material. The completion criteria is, ball highlights / gets outline when fully blocked by a wall or object. Highlight only appears when obstructed. Highlight turns off once the ball is visible again. Effect is clear but not distracting. Okay, this is my task number 4, highlight the ball when it's behind an object or a wall. So if it's behind that, you can see it, and if you go down here, you can see it all through there. And then when you look at the ball, it looks normal, and then like that. Okay, this is my task number 5, gather feedback on spring trap mechanic enjoyment. The description is, this task sets up a way for players to give feedback on spring trap mechanic after playing. It ensures we get players' opinions on how the spring trap feels, how fun it is, and any confusing parts. The completion criteria is, send the player tester a questionnaire link. The prompt clearly instructs a player to fill out the external feedback form. Google form contains at least 3 open-ended questions about the Springtrap experience. Okay, so this is my responses right now. So I have 10 responses on my Springtrap mechanic enjoyment feedback. Okay, this is for the gathering feedback for the Springtrap mechanic. This is a way for basically at the very end of the game, the player will see this screen and they will know to please fill out surveys included with the game. Your feedback helps us improve. My 6th JIRA task is integrate player feedback on my course's difficulty. The description is this task collects and applies player feedback to adjust the difficulty of the golf course's levels. It ensures players find the course challenging but fair and helps identify parts that are too easy to understand, or that are too easy or too hard. Completion criteria. Send the play tester a questionnaire link. Players can provide opinions on how hard or easy the course felt. Responses are collected and analyzed to inform level adjustments. This is my questionnaire link right here, and here's my actual responses. So I asked how difficult was each hole that I created, and then I asked 2 open-ended questions. And then I asked the overall course experience. Okay, this is for JIRA task number 6, to fill out a survey for the course's difficulty. So when the player gets to this screen right here, in the bottom right here, it says please fill out surveys included with the game. Your feedback helps us improve. Okay, this is my 7th task. Curate hole 2. This task is to create hole 2 where players are introduced to water hazards and practicing navigating rotating floors. The hole teaches these mechanics safely while letting players experiment and improve their skills. Completion criteria. Water hazards are placed to challenge and teach the player. Rotating floors included with clear timing and motion. Players can practice avoiding water and using rotating floors without getting stuck. Hole design allows multiple paths to encourage player choice. And this is the hole. This is the bottom half of the hole, and that's going to be the top half. Okay, this is my hole 2, and I'm currently playing it in the build. It's just like the other ones. And the player starts right here. They have a choice. They can either go straight ahead, which is risky because they go across water, or they can go back here. I'm going to be a little risky. But I wanted to like really kind of follow my top-down reference. So in my top-down reference, I have it where there's 2 parts. You have a bottom section, so this whole bottom section, and then you have that top section that we're about to get to. Okay, now the player is on the top area, and they see the hole. Oh, that was one. This is my JIRA task number 8, redo flow/pacing of hole 8. The description is this task is to adjust hole 8 so that certain areas allow more dynamic gameplay. Players will have multiple ways to approach obstacles, giving them more choice and freedom in how they complete the hole. Completion criteria. Key sections of the hole are adjusted to allow multiple paths or approaches. Players can take riskier shortcuts or safer longer routes. Gameplay still feels balanced and challenging. Changes encourage experimentation without breaking the hole. Euro test number 8, showing off the flow and pacing of hole 8. So right here, when the player starts, they have 3 different choices, and when they choose one of these choices, when they get to that area, they also have multiple choices. So if I go left, the player has multiple ways to get to the hole. If I go straight, the player has multiple ways to get to the hole. If I go to the right, the player has multiple ways to get to the hole. So I'm going to start off with the middle. I will say this, every hole is able to get a hole in one, and I have tested it. So the player could have gone that way, but I ended up going this way. And that's how the player gets to that side. So let me restart and show you a different path. I'm going to show you the left side path now. So the player has a choice. They can either go that way or go that way. I'm going to go this way. And that's how you get to the hole from that side. Now I'm going to restart one more time and show you the other side. I wanted to try to allow as much dynamic gameplay as possible. So I might have just hit it too hard right there. Yep. I might have hit it too hard again. You gotta barely tap it to it. This side is probably the hardest side, I can't lie. Okay, there we go. Okay, now the player can choose any of these 3 and go over there. So I'm going to choose that one. And that's basically how they get over there. Jira task number 9, adjust blockout layout of hole 6. The description is, this task is to update the blockout layout of hole 6 to improve spacing, pacing, and player flow. The changes aim to make the hole easier to read while still teaching the spring trap and speed boost mechanics effectively. The completion criteria is to blockout layout clearly shows paths for spring trap and speed boost use. Hazards and gaps are placed to teach mechanics without frustrating players. Multiple approach options exist and increase dynamic gameplay. Layout allows players to learn, practice, and challenge themselves. This is Jira test number 9, showing off the different blockout of hole 6. So originally, it didn't have all of these different paths to go, basically like the right side, left side. All it had originally was just this front jump. So I added a spring boost or spring trap right there in front of the player. So that's like a dynamic spring trap, so the player can use it however they want, using however much speed they want to use. But the one in front of them, when they hit that speed boost, it automatically uses whatever speed boost and then hits this bounce pad. So it's like a guarantee it lands in the same spot every time. And then this left side, player will basically go over the bridge and then hit another speed boost into a spring trap that will get him closer to the hole. And then this is my favorite level blockout that I changed, is adding this area. So player can hit that, go up here, you have to go inside of the hole. Here we go. This is my Jira test number 10, which is fine-tuning the Springtrap bounce multiplier. The description is this task is to adjust the Springtrap bounce multiplier so the ball launches consistently and feels satisfying. It ensures players can predict outcomes based on their aim and power. Completion criteria. Springtrap launches the ball reliably according to the multiplier. Bounce height and distance feel intuitive and responsive. Adjustments don't break any existing holes or paths. Players can predict outcomes with proper aim and power. Okay, this is me showing off the Springtrap mechanic bounce multiplier. So I can just go straight ahead right here. So it takes in your velocity that you're using, and it multiplies it in the direction that you're already going, basically. So if I hit it super hard at it, it's gonna go super far. You know what I'm saying? But if I hit that wall, what just happened? Let's say if I hit it like this. So if I hit it super hard, see how it hits. So the harder you hit it at the bounce multiplier or at the Springtrap, it will take your current velocity and multiplier by a number that I have and get you a launch distance, basically. And that's how that works.
Hello, my name is Marco De Jesus, and today I'll be going over my individual task showcase and demonstrating what tasks I have done and what tasks that I'm somewhat done, but they had enough time for. Alright, let's get started on the very first one. Integrate player feedback on my course's difficulty. Alright, implement a system at the end course for prompt players to provide a detailed feedback on the course's difficulty. Basically, at the end of the game, I'll have a description showing that the description tells the player to please answer this survey so they can answer some of my questions. So, like, to determine what do I need to change about each course's difficulty. So it's not just too hard and not just too right. And this is the acceptance criteria. UI prompt appears on screen at the end of each course's completion. Guides them. Prompt text is clear, concise. Google form questionnaire is created. A data plan is created to track the matrix. And collect at least 5 responses per playtest. Alright, I'm gonna cut away real quick to show you the end of one screen. As you can see right here, the note please fill out our surveys included with the game. Your feedback will help us improve a lot. Alright. And let's cut to the actual Google form that I created for this. Alright, this is the main Google survey, the Google Golf Course Difficulty Questionnaire. This is all the questions that ask the players, each player that asks to play tests. And this is the different responses I got and the data that I received. Alright, with that, let's move on to the next one. The next one is gather feedback on the speed boost enjoyment. This is the description says the implement a system to gather player feedback integration on the enjoyment of the speed boost mechanic using external Google form questionnaire. The acceptance criteria is the UI prompts clear at the end of the game. The prompt consistently instructs the player to fill out external feedback form, and the rest explains by itself. I already explained like at end of one level, which is tells the player to fill out the surveys. So I'm gonna go right into the speed boost questionnaire. This is the whole thing. Answer 3 questions. So far, I get like at least 2 responses because I made this question a bit late, but I was able to get a whole lot from this. So far, the one interacted with it, one didn't. So I might need to add like one more just to like be the deal breaker. But so far, I like what they told what they told me is like what I gained from this playtest was a lot for me. All right, and now let's go on with the next one. All right, the next one is adjusting the rotating floor speeds. Implement variable rotation speeds for the rotating floor mechanic. Floors 3 and 4 should have a slow to moderate speed as the game progresses, so they appear more often. The mechanic should have a faster rotation to increase the difficulty. The 2 acceptance criteria is all rotating floors have adjustable speeds, and holes 3 and 4 have slow to moderate rotation speed. Alright, let's cut to the actual game. Where it shows that the rotating floors at different speeds. As you can see right here, you can tell that the first rotating floor is moving at a slower pace than the second one, right over there. And it's moving in the opposite direction. And you can see is that some of them move very slowly, while some of them move very quickly. And with that, that should be that for this one task, for the Justin rotating floor speeds. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Add visual and audio cues for the stroke counts. The description says, enhance the player experience by adding clear non-instruction feedback when the stroke is counted. Basically, every time stroke is counted, it should be an audio playing showing that the stroke count is there's a stroke count happening right now. Acceptance criteria: stroke counter flashes or animates with each stroke. A sound effect plays when stroke is counted. Cues are noticeable but not distracting. All right, let's show off the proof. As you can see right here, see the stroke is animating as well, and there's a sound effect happening. So each time it's increasing. And with that, that should be it for this one task. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, the next one is level rebalancing, adjust par for each hole. The description says this balancing task involves reevaluating and adjusting par for each of your courses. Par represents the expected number of strokes to complete the hole, and setting it correctly is crucial for player satisfaction and a fair challenge. Acceptance criteria includes par for each of the 4 courses that I made is visible on the HUD. Par is fair reflection of its difficulty, and each hole is adjusted within 1+ stroke of the median playtest result for that hole. At least 70% players should finish at a hole under a par. And the par numbers are adjusted based on playtest data to be more accurate. All right. So for the questions that I gave was also in this Goofy Golf the course difficulty questionnaire, which is the last couple of questions. All right. Do you feel most of them? Do you feel the par is fair? Which hole do you feel the most accurate? And do you feel pressured? And most of the people have said no. They didn't feel pressured. Hole 1 had the most accurate. Hole 4 has the most accurate. Some of them also said that hole 4 is the too low and the hole 5 is a bit too low. And yeah, some of them. So my plan is what I did was some of the courses I had made in the engine in the game is that I adjusted the par count so that it's more accurate for what he said. As you can see right here, hole 4 has a par 4, which you can pause real quick. As you can see here, some of them said that hole 4 has the most accurate par. 2 of them said that at least. So hole 4 should be should stay the same, I feel like. Which other ones I might adjust a bit more so that it's more acceptable for other players to have fun. Alright, let's get started on the next task. Fine-tune speed boost velocity multiplier. Adjust the speed boost velocity multiplier to prevent the golf ball from clipping through level geometry. This involves reducing the max possible velocity the speed boost can impart on the ball to prevent physics engine issues. The new multiplier should still provide a significant boost without causing glitches. The acceptance criteria is the speed boost velocity multiplier is adjusted, the ball does not clip through geometry when using the speed boost. The speed boost still provides a noticeable increase in ball speed. Alright, this shows the evidence that I completed this task. Alright, I started at hole 5. Use the speed. With none of the speed. You can see right there the speed boost was not through the walls. So that marks that criteria down, and it has a noticeable speed as well. So the ball still is being flung towards a certain direction as well. All right, and with that, that is it for this task. Let's go on to the next one. All right, the cinematic fly-through camera. This player experience task involves creating a cinematic camera sequence that flies along the predetermined path to show the player a full view of each course before they begin. This gives the player a chance to scout the layout, identify potential shot opportunities, spot hazards and obstacles. The fly-through will happen automatically at the start of each course. The acceptance criteria is that a camera path is created for each course in the game. The camera automatically begins flying through the sequence when the level loads. The camera follows a designated path, and the camera returns to the player control at the end. Alright, and I'm going to show that right now. So if I press home 1, game starts with a cinematic camera, giving the player a full readout of the map and everything. Alright, with that, that is it for this task. Let's move on to the next one. Implement a stroke counter system, create your system. Basically what it is, it's telling us is like having a stroke counter, like each time you hit the ball, should be a number displayed on the HUD, and increments each hit, and then it's reset to 0 at the start of each new hole. Alright, let's get started. And as you can see, hole 5 changes. And go in here. And the stroke count hits 0 as well. Hits 0 once it loads into a new level, so it doesn't carry over to the next one. Alright, and with that, let's go on to the next one. Making hole 1. This level design task is create a new unique mini golf course for the first hole of the game. Acceptance criteria is a new course is created and is playable as hole 1. The course design guides the player path and encourages shot making. A 2D diagram of the new course layout is attached to this task. Alright, and I press the red link. And this is the hole 1 layout. And then let's cut to the actual game. And as you can see right here, it matches the whole layout of the diagram. Alright, let's get on to the next one. And this is the final one. Add an endgame scorecard. The system design task will provide a satisfying conclusion in the game by displaying the final scoreboard. The acceptance criteria is a new UI screen is created to display the scoreboard. Scoreboard clearly lists the stroke count, each holes. Scoreboard displays the total score, and the game transitions to the scoreboard after the hole is completed. Alright, let's get started on that. As you can see, I'm at that final hole. Let's reach the end. And now it takes me to the final screen and tells me the total hits I had taken. Unfortunately, I was not able to get the full each hole, like how many strokes in each hole, how many times I hit per level. That part I have not completed. So this task is somewhat completed. And I will still continue on it as I go along. And with that, that is it for this video of all my mature tasks. What I've done so far and what still needs to be more polished out. Thank you for watching.